Periscope, Twitch.
Hang on, and I should see it here, right?
It just provides background. Right, 5 minutes.
We are live.
Okay.
YouTube is good.
Alright.
Facebook is live.
Facebook is live, huh?
Yep. Share.
Yep.
Okay, I'm doing that right now.
He's live. Look at that.
All right.
Live on YouTube.
Share away. Everybody, if you're out there, please share the show. Please share the show. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming in today. I got Rudy Garcia, a very inspirational story today. So Rudy and I are just going to chit chat, but pay attention to this because I think it fits for a lot of people, and it's directly the same thing that happened to me. That's how I got in this business. So I want to really make sure we pass this information on today.
Done.
Awesome. Awesome.
Oh, and you guys even have a countdown?
Yeah, we do a little pre-roll countdown.
That is epic. Wow.
Yeah.
And then do you have like the yellow colored glasses so your eyes don't get too strained? Yeah, way to go, man. The blue blockers?
No, you're supposed to make fun of him for wearing those.
Highly recommend them.
I got a pair myself. Yeah, and I have them with me, so like, but you know, sometimes when you're editing, you have to see like color in its true form, so you have to take them off.
Yeah.
So I got the ones that are molded to my glasses, and I can just take them on and off. Yeah.
Yeah, I do a lot of color on the side too.
Yeah.
Display calibration and stuff. It's always a thing. 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. You like this, Rudy?
Yeah, I'm digging
Awesome,
it, man.
man.
Anytime I can like
Get
try to
out
help
there.
people out and
No,
stuff.
this is awesome, dude. Absolutely.
Let's see. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, all going on.
Hey, that guy that always asks us, that messages us and says, hey, you're welcome to share the show on our page.
Yeah.
What is that? Do you remember what page it was?
Yeah, it's Rhode Island, Rhode Island, California. It's Rhodeywood,
Oh, yeah,
California.
yeah. Is he on? Do you have him on your list of? You probably should. If he's asking for comment.
Yeah, no, I
share it.
don't. Boy, it's 2 o'clock. Are we? Oh, we got a minute. We got a minute 20. Okay. I've got to get. There it is. Okay. Okay.
Rhode Island filmmakers.
Yeah. Yes, there is a California branch too, on that he suggests we go to.
Okay. Looks like we have about 40 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Right up to the last minute. "35 seconds. Here we go." Are you doing that, Tony, right now?
I'm
Good.
joining the group.
Yeah, good, thanks. All righty.
I'm going to join his Applebox.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
The opening.
Oh, I love that guy, man. The Long Beach guy.
Yeah.
Shares our show every week. He's a good dude.
I just posted it. I posted it
Oh,
directly.
is that you?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
cool. I'll give you.
Yeah.
Let you in. All right.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Friday at 2 o'clock. Got to be Burnie's Applebox. We got a great show today. Got Mr. Rudy Garcia here. How you doing, Rudy?
Doing all right. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Rudy is a photojournalist, and I met Rudy. I think we met at a couple of events originally, and then we spoke together at an event.
Yeah, we were on a panel.
Yeah, yeah. And
the,
shortly after that, and you told me you were trying to get into photojournalism.
That's right. Yeah, I've always kind of had a thing for news, and always wanted to work in it. And so, kind of as I was taking classes and learning about the craft and all of that, I got into sound, and that was a panel that we talked at.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so
you were speaking on sound,
audio.
audio tips, stuff like that. You know what? And you had, you were not, I don't think, at that time in a news organization, right? You were just coming onto it. It happened shortly after that, I believe.
Yeah, I think I was just like either still taking classes or trying to get into it or trying to do what I could do here in Orange County.
Yeah. You've got a very interesting story. I want to get into that. First, I want to introduce the guys here. Sean, the guys behind the scenes. Sean, and we got Peter in there doing some audio training right now.
Yeah.
And we got Tony in there. Tony, there you go.
Tony's hand.
Yeah, Tony's hand.
Tony's
There's
hand on
Tony's
social media
hand.
today.
Tony's hand. And so thanks, guys. So, you know what, Rudy? I'll tell you something. I'll be quite frank with you.
Okay.
You know, I was an older guy when I got in this business.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And when you were telling me that you were looking to get, because I want to give this a fair shift here.
Sure.
I know you did something before that was you were highly trained for.
Right.
Before you got into audio or went up and got into the news organizations and stuff like that. Tell me, what did you do before you got in this business?
So before I got into this business, I was a civil engineer.
Okay.
And my focus was on transportation and traffic. So
Okay.
I think most people think of civil engineers as like doing buildings,
Dams,
and
stuff like
dams
that,
and stuff
yeah.
with water.
Yeah.
But my focus was on transportation and traffic.
Okay. Transportation, how as a civil engineer, how does that manifest itself in traffic and freeways and stuff like
Sure. So most of my specialty was like the traffic studies.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what people think of in terms of designing roads and things like that. That's more that's really more of like another set of civil engineering.
that? Sure.
But mine was like the traffic studies and the planning, and it's basically kind of trying to calculate how much traffic and where it's going to go.
Okay.
And is it going to cause issues?
Okay.
So that's kind of the basic gist. of
And just because I'm a nerd and I like to find
Sure.
out about a lot of things, when you do those traffic studies like that, you're doing those strings that are across the street. You're seeing how much traffic goes.
Yeah.
What are some of the other things where you're trying to judge, like where the turns are, or give me some idea?
Yeah. So sometimes you'll see people sitting out on the corner of an intersection, a lawn chair,
Yeah.
with like a clipboard, and
Yeah.
they're actually counting. There's actually counters on there, and they're actually hidden.
They're actually
counting
counting like turns
the
and stuff.
turns and like how many cars are going through and how many cars are making like a right turn. Sometimes they'll count how many people are crossing the street and what
Okay.
direction. Bicycles, they'll take that into account. Now it's kind of, that part of our industry is kind of taking a back seat in terms of having people out there. Now what they'll do is they'll strap a camera to like a traffic light pole.
Sure.
And
do a time study.
and they'll do it,
time lapse.
and they'll review it at the station, still counting, but they
Yeah.
can watch it 4 times as quick.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you don't have to actually have a physical person that you're
there.
tying up one day out there.
Yeah.
All that. That's interesting. So now in this, you would take all of this information and then use that, and I'm assuming to math on it
Yeah,
and figure out what you need?
Yeah, so all that information, you take the, all of the volume of the cars, like how many and where they're turning. You take, what does the traffic signal look like? Is it, a left turn arrow or not? You take into account how many lanes there are and a few other things. And then based off all of that, you give the grade you give a grade to the intersection.
Okay.
Yeah, so
it's graded.
It's
then.
graded, like kind of like in school, like
Yeah.
A through F.
Yeah.
And so different cities or agencies have a different standard. They call it like level of service.
Okay.
And you have to meet a certain level of service
Okay.
for that. And the reason why all that counting is important is because a lot of the times you want to build something, whether it be homes or an office building or a school, and you need to know how much traffic that's going to add to that intersection may be already bad.
So it's a lot of things that people don't generally think about. Right. And you are a civil engineer, and that is a really, you're doing important things there. You are actually contributing to the future of the city, the future of the economy, and maybe even the safety of somebody's life with what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big job. That's not just an aside job. That's not some job you leave or go get somewhere else. They need a specific person like yourself, a civil engineer, to do it.
Yeah. So let's take a step back there in terms of like what you said. So I'd focus on the studies as well, but then it's also kind of like ways to fix the intersection if it's bad.
Right.
Studies were just like a major part of what I did, but I've done a little bit of almost everything.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school at?
I went to UC Irvine.
UC Irvine.
Yep.
Okay. And we're originally Orange County, born in Orange County?
I was born in San Jose.
San Jose.
Silicon Valley.
Okay. Yep. How old were you when you came down south?
I was probably about 18,
Great.
19.
And then you went to college.
I went to college, yeah.
Is your family here, or are they still up in Silicon Valley?
They are still up in San Jose.
Okay. Okay. So you're a little closer to them now.
Yes, I am.
In Bakersfield.
Yes,
That's
I
where
am.
your station is. We're going to get into that. And you went to UC Irvine, and so here you go through it. You're a civil engineer. You're working. You're well established. You're probably on the track to move up the ladder and all that.
Yeah.
But what does Rudy really want to do?
So Rudy has always really wanted to work in news, and it started in high school. My high school had a closed circuit TV station.
Okay.
They had a daily announcements show every day. And for the record, my high school was Archbishop Mitty, the Monarchs.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I got to give
The
them a shout.
Monarchs.
Monarchs. So I gotta give them a shout out.
Like the monarch butterfly?
No, it was like a monarch, like a lion.
A lion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the big monarch.
The big
okay.
monarch.
Yeah. All right.
So
So I was going to say, otherwise you would have gone from butterflies to anteaters.
Right.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know which one is better. Whether it's like a monarch or.
No, it's a monarch. It's a lion. Okay. Yeah.
So one day I passed by there's a studio and it had an open door, and I got to see the control room, and I was like, oh, that's where we just watched the announcements show. Mm-hmm. And that got me really interested in stuff.
Okay.
And I think even before then I was always interested in like some type of production or behind the scenes things.
Sure.
In elementary school I was always involved with the plays and musicals, but there's always something behind the scenes. Whether it was like lighting or sound or things like that. And so in high school I was like, whoa, TV.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, sure. No, that's a big deal.
Yeah. And that was really
And what year did you graduate high school?
It was 2002.
2002.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Very good. So the family, I'm sure, did you ever tell them, I don't want to be an engineer, I want to be in TV? And what was their reaction, even though I can guess?
Yeah, so, like, at first it was like, we don't care what you do, except for you just need to go to college.
Yeah.
And then after that, like, when I decided, like, TV was my thing, because I didn't quite, at the time in San Jose, I didn't quite think that TV shows and movies, I thought that was too hard to get into. Mm-hmm. And then I thought that theater didn't pay enough.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, TV news is a good middle ground where you're doing production every day.
Right.
And so that's kind of what I was going to go into. And then, I was you know, I guess the nice way to put it is pushed into engineering.
Yeah.
You know,
Family push?
family and
push?
kind of cultural
Yeah,
things, because
yeah.
like in Filipino culture, it's like, you know, it's like very prestigious if you're an engineer or
Oh,
a
sure.
nurse or a
No,
doctor
no,
or a
absolutely.
dentist. You know, they call it the Filipino Five. You know, it's one of those careers that is okay if you're a Filipino. Anything else is not.
I
you know?
love it. I love the Filipino
The
Five.
Filipino Five.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, I did engineering, and like it was okay. Like I was very thankful that I was able to go to a good school, and you know, have my parents really help me out with that. So I'm very thankful for that.
Absolutely.
You know, the work and everything was okay. Like I didn't necessarily like love it, and I didn't necessarily hate it either.
Right.
It was just kind of like my job, and hey, this is pretty cool, and there's parts of it
You
that
were
are
somewhat
interesting.
dispassionate about it, right? It was what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You know, it
yeah.
allowed me to do like other things, and so it was really like, you know, it was okay. Like
Yeah.
I didn't love it and I didn't hate it.
Sure, I
you
gotcha.
know?
Yeah.
You know, what I didn't necessarily like was after I was working in it. You know, my cousin would graduate and be a lawyer, or my cousin would graduate and be a doctor, and then the comparison started happening,
Yeah.
and that kind of really bothered me.
Yeah. Okay. Give me a like this guy's got a better job than you do type thing, right?
It was-
Within the family, subtle like families
yeah, it was
do.
like a
Yeah.
subtle
Yeah.
comparison, but
Sure.
it was like for
Sure.
me with engineering, it was kind of like hard enough, and you know, it was like hard enough work, and it's like I didn't work that hard to necessarily hear all that.
Yes.
You know? It's
Exactly.
like
no,
just-
no. That doesn't set
Yeah.
well. I know.
Yeah,
You
it's
know.
like just be happy, like
Yeah.
that we're all successful.
See, in,
Right.
in my family, we bragged about being out of prison. You know,
Okay.
like, yeah, Jimmy's still in prison. Bernie's out now. How about that? I'm kidding on that, but I totally know that dynamic,
Yeah.
and I think so many young people get caught in that dynamic.
Yeah.
You know, dad's idea for you, mom's idea
Right.
for you. You know, and when you're young, and especially financially, and everybody, you know, pretty much wants to go to college to have an even better than even chance of making some
Right.
money in this society. That's very tough, and it's a lot of pressure, you know, and you do it. So you're ready now. And how long were you a civil engineer for?
Probably working about maybe between 10 and 12 years.
Okay, so
something like
well
that.
established,
Yeah.
well established.
Yeah.
You know.
I still freelance every now and then
Yeah.
when you know, former employers need
Oh,
help.
oh, yeah,
and,
sure.
yeah.
Well, then why not? Yeah,
Right.
pick up a few dollars. What was the point? When was the time? When was it where you just said, "I'm breaking away no matter what"?
I think there were kind of a couple of things. I think the first instance was, you know, I'd been kind of doing production stuff on the side, and I saw an opening for NBC's, they call it the TAP program,
Okay.
and it's their technical apprentice program for their sports network. And I had made it to the second phone interview, and you know, they called me and said, "Oh no, we can't take you because you have nothing formal on your degree, on your record." And I was like,
What did they mean by that?
I think they wanted some type of an education or some type of.
Oh, you hadn't put that
Yeah.
you were a civil engineer.
No. I put that on there, but
Okay.
I didn't have any education in the production field.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So there was nothing, no classes or anything. Even though I had experience, I knew what was going on. I just didn't know all the nomenclature and all the
Sure.
stuff, what they called things, right?
Correct.
And so I think that was part of it. And then I think part of it too was just I was working like way too much in engineering. I had a day job. I was helping a former boss like build up his firm on the side. I had a couple of other small projects there, and you know, and then kind of like all of that, I kind of said like, you know what? Let's really like go try this, and let's really try to like go back to school for this.
And not just try to split it out like I can still do this and I can try to do that. You said,
that's actually what I was doing was
Yeah.
like, you know, like engineering kind of during the week.
And that's so hard
and
to
then
do.
The weekends would be all production.
yeah,
You know.
that's so difficult to do because I do run into not a lot of people, because most of the people I'm working with, or we're all in this all the time, but people who are trying to break in and do it part-time and
Yeah.
sort of doing their other gigs. You know, while I admire that very much, I always try to tell them that you are not going to make it this way. You know how this business is now.
Yeah.
It's way, way too demanding to do anything and expect any success part-time.
Yeah, I would say I was pretty lucky in
Mm-hmm.
terms of, people always wanted to work with me.
Yeah.
And so, generally, I think for maybe 6 months straight, I had jobs booked for the weekends.
Wow. Wow.
They're
That's
small,
great.
granted, small jobs.
Yeah.
They're not.
No, but
It
you're
wasn't
going
anything
out.
crazy.
Yeah.
But people wanted to work with me, and I think that's that's something that I really want to talk about. Is like your attitude, and like people always wanted to work with me.
Yeah.
I mean, even
Because
now.
you walked in with a good attitude.
Yeah.
You were ready to hustle and focus on work.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And even now with my former, engineering employers, they still want to work with me too.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I'm sure.
your attitude in this business is really everything.
Everything, Rudy.
Everything.
I'm glad you said that because it is absolutely everything. And it comes down to this simple statement. Who do you want to spend 10 hours with?
Right.
Yeah, you want to spend 10 hours with somebody that you trust,
Right.
number one, but the ears are open. And in my case, almost everybody I've hired in the last 20 years, I tried to find people that knew more than I did.
Right.
Because when I'm stuck, they'll have a solution. You
Yeah.
know. So no, I think that is very, very, very important. Tell me, what was the family's reaction? You now on your own. You've been working in the industry 10
Sure.
years. I'm sure they're, they don't think they could tell you what to do. But what was it?
Well, there were a few things. So, I went to Santa Ana College to
Yeah.
learn production and get my
John
certificates.
Coleman was he? He was
Yeah,
one of
John
the-
Coleman was one of the
Was
teachers.
that? Did I speak at one of the classes you went to there?
You did.
Oh, okay,
You were
good.
you actually did speak in
Yeah.
his lighting class.
Yeah.
And you talked about what you did, and I don't know if you brought a grip truck.
I probably did.
Yeah,
I
and
probably
you're
did.
showing us where
Yeah.
you keep all the screens and the silks
Yes,
and everything.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was good. I'm glad you were in
Yeah.
that class. That was fun. I love doing those things because they're, you know what I mean? People
Oh,
get
yeah.
so much out of it, and I always think you always kind of forget when you're into it
Yeah.
how much people they're seeing it for the first time.
Yeah,
you know?
no, I agree completely.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing this. So,
Yeah, that's
this is
good.
the only
Thank
you're one of the only people who will get me on camera.
That's good.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well,
so
there's a win for Applebox.
there you go. No, like anything like for people that want to get into this that are serious, I will go on camera for them.
Yeah.
I do it for Santa Ana College
That's
students
very
all the
good.
time.
That's awesome.
Things like
That's
that.
awesome. So now you've made the transition. You're in sound. Are you getting clients now? You're working a lot up?
Yeah, but like a lot of my clients were like, small jobs and like referrals, people working at, like a
They could throw you in place of them, that type
right,
of thing.
or like
Yeah.
it was like a film school, project where they had a little bit of a budget to pay someone to
Sure.
do sound, like, so that was like a lot of my work.
Very traditional,
going
starting
into
out.
it. Yeah, and I kind of fell into sound by accident.
Okay.
And so how that happened is I was working on a production for Cal State Fullerton, so a bunch
Okay.
of film students there, and I just wanted to get experience. And usually, like, you start off as like a production assistant or as a gopher, doing
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and then usually the next step up is holding a boom pole,
Yeah, right.
And so I did that, and I was actually pretty good. And then I was kind of like doing some thinking, and everyone wants to be a director of photography and shoot,
Yeah.
and everyone wants to direct, but there aren't a lot of people that do sound.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it, and like, have you ever heard of anyone say like, "Oh, what was that movie recorded on? Was it recorded with this
Oh, yeah.
microphone?"
No, you haven't,
and
and
that
you never
mixer,
will.
right?
Yeah,
You never
yeah,
hear that,
yeah.
right? So, and then I started talking to a couple of sound people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this microphone I bought 20 years ago, I still use it."
Yeah.
And how often do you have to
You
change
don't hear
cameras?
that often.
right?
Oh, no, dude, not at all. You change cameras almost every 6 months now.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I kind of thought sound was a pretty good way to get in the industry and kind of actually really make some money.
Yeah.
Because, your equipment, it would last for a long time.
Right.
You don't have to change stuff that often. And, people don't necessarily take the care to do it correctly.
Right. Right.
So sound, I think, is a great way for people to get into the industry.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I know that it's because sound, I think, is a little less your learning curve for it is not as high as, say, like lighting or being a gaffer, you know,
Right.
although you can get on the crew and do that. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is very good. And, you know, not everybody has the patience for sound either.
Right.
You know, and that's a big one. You know what I mean? If you find those people, I really believe we are a industry of personality types, more so than even other industries.
Oh, sure.
Because we will go to where you want to go to. You know,
Yep.
we will find our place on set based on your personality. So
Right.
I truly believe that. You know, so let's speed up. Let's cut to the chase here. So you're a sound guy. You're working. You're doing all that. Where did you find? Tell me about how you got to the station you're at now.
Sure. So I finished at Santa Ana College in 2017.
Okay.
It took me 5 years to get 2 certificates.
Okay.
But I mean, I was working a lot and everything like that.
No, that's
And
all
you know,
good.
you know how production is like. You can't read it from a book, right? You have to do
You
it.
got to be on set.
Yep. You have
Yeah.
to do it. And so you know, I got my certificates in 2017, and there was this conference in Anaheim. It's called the Excellence in Journalism Conference.
Okay.
And there's also a recruiting fair or a hiring fair out there. And I was like, well, I have my student demo reels. You know, let's go try to find a job.
Yeah.
And, you know, on my student demo reel, I had a fire that was here in Santa Ana, and a lot of the other big news stations here covered it. I got that because I was a scanner head. I listened to the police
So
scanner.
you had your
I had
scanner
my
on.
scanner, yeah. I was at school when I heard it.
I love that. I love that, man.
yeah.
I love that. I'll tell you what, dude. I love that. You've
Yeah.
got this scanner on, and you're looking for work. You're looking for something to shoot.
Yep.
There's a lesson right there. Listen to it. Be ready. Be into it. Don't wait for somebody to give you a job. Find your job right there. I love that, Rudy.
And at the time, you know, school had closed, checkout hours were closed, but I was actually at the Digital Media Center at Santa Ana College.
Okay.
And there was a class going on. I said, hey guys, there's a fire going on. I need someone that has a camera checked out, and I need someone with the lights, and let's go do this. And so, like, 3 of my classmates were there with me, and I got to see a fire. I was able to shoot it, pretty similar to what you'd see on the newscast.
Sure.
A reporter I was with interviewed a couple of the witnesses that were there, and people that were actually in the house.
Wow.
And then we put a story together for the show at school, and I said, I'm going to use this for my demo reel.
Perfect.
That was the first story on my demo reel for school. You know, I showed it to 4 people at the fair. I got kind of offers from cities all across the country. Bakersfield was the last one. And
Wow.
how that happened was our sister station in Fresno, it was either their general manager or their news director saw it and said, well, I'm not hiring a photographer right now, but let me call somebody. Stay right here. And he called my news director to come down and watch my demo reel, and my news director loved it.
Great.
You know, and he was like, and he was asking me all these questions about how I lit stuff and why did I shoot it this way, and that kind of a thing. And he said, okay, here's my card. You know, you need to come to Bakersfield next week. I said, okay. And I knew he really wanted me because that Saturday night when the conference ended, 9 o'clock at night, I checked my email, and he said, hey, is there a way you can email me all the links for your demo reels that you showed me at the conference?
Oh, wow. That's
9 o'clock
great.
on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
And-
Somebody's thinking about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And so I did, and I went for the interview that Monday. It was weird. My parents actually drove me to that interview in
good.
Bakersfield, from San Jose to Bakersfield, because I went up to San Jose,
Yeah.
and then they took me that week,
That's awesome.
and I ended up getting the job there.
You must have been very excited about that.
Yeah, it was really weird
Yeah.
because I never thought I would make it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
especially you know how hard this industry is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So especially for TV, I think it's even harder.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it is.
so-
Yeah, it is, absolutely. But you did a very smart thing. And you said something earlier that I loved, and I'm going to repeat it right now,
Okay.
as far as I can remember it. But you said, you know how it is in this business. You have to be on set to learn. You can't learn it from a school.
Yep.
Folks, that's coming from a civil engineer. Okay. He became a civil engineer by studying, but he's telling you, you got to be on set to get it here. Listen to that. There's that came off the top of his tongue right there. That he knows that intuitively. You have to be on set. You have to commit. You have to do it. You don't wait for somebody to give you a job. You go get the job. You make the job. You make yourself there so often they can't say no to you. That's the ticket. That's the ticket.
And the other part of the ticket, if you will, I guess, is you know, people will remember you on the set.
Yes.
And they'll think of you, and then all of a sudden your phone will ring, or you'll get an email from someone you don't know.
Yep.
You know, who said, "Hey, I heard about you from this person. I have this project. Would you like to take it on?"
Yeah.
You
No,
know, so
that's
that's the other
absolutely-
reason why. Yeah.
Now we're going to see the reel too. We're going to go through this, but I just wanted to. I ask people this who come into the business all the time. You know, once they've been into it for a year or two, I always go back and ask them, "Is this what you thought it would be?" And I'm going to ask you that question, but the answer that I get most of the time is no, nothing at all like the way I thought it'd be. Give me your take on news.
Sure. For the news side, as a photographer, I thought I would be, you know, shooting and editing and working with a reporter more. And kind of, you know, in smaller cities and smaller stations, you're working by yourself a lot more.
Right.
And so that's something that I didn't really expect, you know, in terms of me going out shooting.
Shooting alone, almost interviewing the people, right? And doing that.
So that's something that I wasn't expecting,
Yeah.
you know, and then also kind of just how small of a staff there really is at a news station. I think people have this misconception that it's a newsroom and there's all these people, but when you are starting out in like a smaller city or smaller town, you don't necessarily have that.
It's been cut to the bone. It's been cut to the bone already.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've done everything from shoot, interview, edit. I've even written a little bit.
Okay. So, which are all great opportunities. You know, that's really a great opportunity to go to a market like Bakersfield. Which what ranking is Bakersfield? Do you know, market-wise?
It was 126, and it just changed, I think, last year to 122. So it's moved up 4 spots.
It's moved up. Yeah. But you know, in a smaller market like that, that's such a great opportunity to be able to do all those things, you know, have it be your proving ground a little bit, you know, hone your skills somewhat.
Yeah, no, I would completely agree with that. And I think you also need to pick the right market.
I think so.
I mean, I lucked out in terms of with Bakersfield. There's actually a lot of news to cover out there.
Yes.
A lot of people don't think of Bakersfield as being like, there's a lot of news.
Yeah.
There is.
There's plenty.
There's a lot.
Yeah. And it's a it's a small city, of course, but it's a decent size within its range or an element. You're sort of the biggest city around by 50, 60 miles on either side of you, certainly.
Oh, right.
You know. Yeah. So that is a very good thing too, and I agree with that. It's a good market.
Yeah.
You know, I did a shoot for Nationwide up in Bakersfield, probably about 2 years ago. I was so impressed with that city, to tell you the truth. I really didn't expect to. I had one of the best sushi experiences I've ever had in Bakersfield, believe it or not.
Right, and you don't think of Bakersfield as a sushi town, right?
I would not. No, I would not at all. You know, but I was pretty impressed with Bakersfield, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like the people there are absolutely incredible. Like you know, you will not find a more giving community than you will in Bakersfield.
I totally agree with that.
There's all kinds of fundraisers every weekend, and you know, there's a lot of support for different causes out there. Like I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. You know what? I think, Sean, can we go to a quick commercial? Yeah. And then we'll come back. We'll take a look at your reel.
Sure, we can do that.
All right. Very good. Hi, I'm Burnie. I own Burnie's Grip and Lighting, San Diego Grip and Lighting, and Los Angeles Grip and Lighting. You know, we pride ourselves on not only renting you the best equipment, but also giving you the best crews. And one of our core values here at Burnie's Grip and Lighting is that we give you the highest production value in the world. And remember, people used to say national, local. No, we present world-class production value on every set. We also know budgets are very tight these days, and you've got 10 hours to get what you need in the can. We move ahead, we move fast, and we know what you need. When you rent from Burnie's Grip and Lighting, you have a partner on your production for that day that is making sure you are well taken care of. So anytime you're in Southern California, give us a call at 714-609-3545, and we'll take very good care of you. See you on set. Hey everybody, we're back with Rudy Garcia and photojournalist, and we're just going to take a quick look at Rudy's reel here, and we're going to look through it, I think, first, Rudy, and then we'll come back, we'll talk a little bit about it, and we'll look at some of your pictures too.
Sure.
Awesome. There you go.
They are going to hoist him out of there to the safety of that chopper.
It was supposed to be a night of fun and dancing that quickly turned to tragedy here in Thousand Oaks.
But at the end of the day, I mean, the ball gets snapped and you got to play.
Police now have a man in custody.
I've never seen one of them pulled over.
Pretty cool thing right now.
Little did they know, their boyfriends would soon become their pimps.
They still remember when these streets were covered in a white coat of snow.
They were en route to the hospital and realized that they needed to pull over.
This is the setup with the hair light. Okay.
Several different SWAT vehicles going up and down the freeway.
I enjoy fishing.
In the end, KHSD police said there was no gunman.
At that time, 4 gunshots in the southwest corner of the hospital.
We saw firsthand today was a strong message to the community.
Appreciate you being here.
It's been 30 years since a Bakersfield woman was viciously murdered here in this field. Now her family is fighting to get the case reopened.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. I like that. Good looking stuff, and it was more lit than I thought it would be too, to be honest with you. So
Yeah.
I like that. Let me ask you this, because this is something, working with a reporter, tell me about that dynamic between the two of you.
Well, I wish I got to do it more.
Okay.
But you know, in a few of the shots there, a lot of the times I'm there for like the reporter's live shot and to make sure that they're lit and that they look good and sound good as well.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's like, oh, just, you know, hey, move a little bit this way, or there's like a tree coming out of your head,
Yeah,
like move here. There's for shots that are a little bit more action, like you know, I've done some weather live shots with our evening meteorologist, and she likes to, you know, be out in the field.
Sure.
And so, you know, we'll go to her, and then we'll go to whatever she's talking about. But we'll talk about it beforehand. You know, we'll talk about it before we go on the air.
And do you direct them, or do they direct you?
I think we kind of play off each other every now and then. You know, sometimes, like for instance, with Alyssa, who does, she's the evening meteorologist. She will, you know, tell me what she wants, and then she'll usually start on camera, and then, you know, she'll talk about something that's happening at the fair, and I'll pan over to that or tilt down to that, and she knows kind of where my camera's pointing, and so, you know, after she's done with her weather, she can come back and say, you know, oh yeah, like, you know, that's an awesome train ride, you know, because she knows like that's probably in my frame.
Right, right. So you two are learning each other, knowing each other's, and you're playing off each other as the story continues and goes on.
Right. It's like it's kind of like a team effort.
Yeah.
One of the stories that I did was about a deadly shooting that happened during the night, and the reporter that was doing that, we went back during the day to go shoot it, and she told me, "Hey, can you get a shot of the cups on the ground? Because I have this great line about a party gone wrong."
Yeah.
And there were party cups just laying around.
Yeah.
I said, "Sure." So it's kind of like that kind of.
She's picking out visuals, and you're picking up on cues from her to shoot visuals and do all of that.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's great. Tell me. Well, you know what I think I'd like is do you want to just go through this with a picture-in-picture, and let's go through that sizzle, and we can take a look at a few things. We're going to do the same with pictures too that are coming up. So
you want to start from the top?
Let's go ahead and do that.
That sounds good.
Kind of the first shots that you saw there was like a helicopter rescue, and that's somewhere in the
canyon. Yeah, that was very dramatic. That was very dramatic.
So that played out on the air. I think the full clip, they took it live for a good 6 minutes.
Oh, they did? So they went live to that shot?
They went live when the second the chopper came in. Can we pause it right here?
Yeah, let's pause it right there, yeah.
So in terms of where I was able to get, this is against like a mountainous road.
Yeah.
I was able to get in a spot where I could see the person on the rock and still get a signal out, because we can't get a signal out there.
Well, I was just going to ask you that. Do you set up, how difficult is it to set up your live shots when you're doing something like that?
This case, I got lucky. We have cellular backpacks now.
Okay.
So now that's how most stations go live, is with a cellular backpack. Before it used to be the big trucks. Now it's a cellular backpack.
Yeah.
And so I was set up there, and then I heard in my ear, hey, we're going to take you live when the helicopter comes in, so stay on it.
Yeah.
I said, okay. And I'd never heard them like cut away. I heard the anchors kind of talking over my shot, and I was like, okay, let's keep this as still and as steady as I possibly can.
Yeah, right.
And let's
no
just
wild
follow the
pans.
action. Yeah. And later that night, I watched my shot against like the other stations, because in the newsroom you can see what the other stations are doing.
Oh, okay.
And mine,
you nailed
hands
it.
down, beat them.
Oh, that's so awesome, dude. That's so awesome. And they stayed on you for 6 minutes, so that's got to be huge. Yeah. How long did it take you to find this position? So, like somebody is down there. In fact, I'm going to take this moment to just walk through it. And so there's an emergency.
Right.
Somebody's been called in. Somebody dispatches you, right?
Yeah, usually you'll get a call from like the assignment desk when I'm there, or sometimes I'm there and I hear it on the scanner.
They send you right out, and you hear it yourself. Yeah. So when they do that, how do they position you? They tell you the address, they give you the coordinates, and you go there, and you just start to find a way to
get in. Yeah, usually they'll tell me like what's going on, or I'll hear it on the scanner. And in this particular case, like I knew he was somewhere along the river, and the CHP had kind of almost shut down the entrance to this already.
Okay.
But they can let news media in.
Yeah.
And so I was in, I found a spot, and I was like, okay, this is actually a pretty okay spot. And I said, and then I tried to send video back already what I'd shot before, and I knew that area was a good signal. So I knew I didn't want to move.
Yeah.
And in this case, I just kind of like lucked out.
You got it, yeah. Luck is a big part of our business, that's for sure. But it's putting yourself where you can be lucky.
Right.
Right.
And part of it too is also staying safe. So I had to find a spot to park and walk over.
Doing all that,
kind of a thing.
All right, let's let it go a little bit more, Sean. Let's take a look at it. So this is dramatic stuff.
Okay. And then this is a shot here in Thousand Oaks where they sent the reporter out.
This is a beauty shot.
Yep. So there's a lot of stuff. One of my shots actually made it in the national news. Go ahead and, can we back it up and stop it to the, so let's see. Go ahead and play it. No, go ahead and play it. I'll stop it. I'll tell you when to pause it right here. Hang on. So this is national news. Pause it right here. This is for the accused cop killer.
In
Northern California. And so, my work week is Friday through Tuesday. And so Friday morning, they called me and they said, hey, they think this guy's here in Bakersfield. And sure enough, he was. So this is a shot that was pulled from NBC Network, you know, because I guess they can see all of our backpacks and whatnot.
Oh, when you're streaming, they get the national gets it too.
Gets it too, yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
I think that's how they got it, because I don't remember.
So then they can just go into a local station. Hey, we're live from Bakersfield. We're following this happening.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Usually they'll tell you, but like this, when it aired, it wasn't live. But they, you know, like they used a shot.
They used your shots.
Yeah, they used 3 of them. I found out, like my news director said, "Hey, they used some of your shots on NBC Nightly News tonight."
Do you get a pretty good attaboy from your local station? Did they do that? Oh yeah, because then they made some news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then in my demo, this is just one of them.
Okay, so let's keep looking, Sean. Yeah.
So this stop right here.
Yeah.
This was a piece I did on street racing, and so this was a little unique because someone in the community had come to me about a problem, and so I kind of produced a story. Would you say, like in terms of lining up the interviews, like shooting it, going on a ride along with the police, and then I had there was a reporter and an editor that kind of cut the script together, and then the reporter put her face on it and voiced it.
So you produced this piece. Somebody came to you, you had the idea.
Yep.
You coordinated everything, shot it, wrote it.
Shot it and you know, gave a little bit of pointers for editing and whatnot. So yeah, so that was a piece on
That's
street
great.
racing.
So that's an opportunity too. I mean, you could move into those fields as well. That's great. Let's take a look. Let's see.
And then after this.
And was that staged? Was that staged? The cars, were they staged?
No, they weren't. They were not
so
staged.
They were just
so
racing.
yeah. So how I got that shot is somebody had set up a scaffolding in their backyard because they were taking pictures themselves to send to the police. And they gave me permission to be in their backyard shooting that way. Yeah. So that's how I got that shot.
What about this one?
This is the LA Rams, and let's go back. Yeah, this is probably one of their, I guess their trainings or practices before they went to the Super Bowl this year.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got to go to that.
So they sent you down to LA to cover that.
To LA, yeah. And so the reason why, you know, they would send maybe me from my station and we wouldn't necessarily take it from NBC is because, you know, my station is owned by a company called Nexstar.
Okay.
And so, you know, we need to get that content for Nexstar because there were different stations kind of doing different
stuff. Oh, so they
with it.
take that and then now they're spreading it out to their other stations because it's a national news. It's Super Bowl.
Not
I mean,
quite.
when I say national news, the whole country is interested in that.
Yeah, so, you know, for our company, we took it, and even though we're an NBC affiliate, we still had to kind of go get our own footage.
Of course.
And sometimes there's a lot of restrictions on sports in terms of, you know, who you can take from and who you can pull from and how much you can air. And so if you go get it yourself, that limits some of the issue.
Some of the issue. That is your own footage that you do. You know, that is so interesting, too. I mean, the things you don't think about, I would have never thought about that.
Yeah.
I would have thought, hey, can we get... So NBC would not necessarily... You don't have carte blanche to what they have.
Right.
They have carte blanche to what you have, I would assume. Right?
Yeah.
You know, but you have to be careful of that. Know what you're showing.
Sometimes there's copyright permissions that you know, say like, hey, you can only use this for TV, or you can only use so many seconds of this for TV.
Gotcha.
Or you can't post it to the web. Things like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So so there's that, and then let's go a little bit forward. I think the next shot. Stop right there. That was in Hawaii.
Fishing guy?
Yeah, so I got to go to Hawaii, and that was because of...
Bakersfield sent you to Hawaii to cover a story.
Well, how it worked is we were backing our sister station in Hawaii because there was a hurricane that was coming in.
Got you.
And so they brought us in before the hurricane hit. And this is a shot taken off, I think, the west side of the Big Island.
And were you working for that other station then, or were you still working for your station and feeding them information about the story?
I was working for the local station there in Hawaii because we're kind of the same company, and so we're there to back them.
Yeah.
But yes, every now and then you get assignments where they send you to Hawaii.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
And the hurricane didn't hit, so it was pretty cool.
Even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have never done that doing traffic studies.
No.
Okay, let's take another look. Well, we're driving Sean crazy here because tell him to stop every 5 seconds.
No. We can continue here a little bit.
Okay, hold here.
Okay.
Hold here for me. Now you've got. What did you light that with?
Okay, so I wanted to do like the 3-point lighting with a hair light and all of this stuff.
Sure.
And the story is about human trafficking here.
Okay.
And so we did it in front of, a motel on a street where human trafficking is known to occur, along that street.
Okay.
So how I lit this is we were right up against a fence, and I didn't have enough space for a light. So this is actually just a one light setup. I think to camera left is how I did it. And it was way up high and pointed down because I kind of wanted to mimic like it was like a street light.
Sort of you have that night feel to it or something, up from above.
So that's kind of how I lit this one. It was just a one light kind of a setup.
Yeah.
I wish I could had more space to have a hair light because her hair's kind of dark.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been something to edge the other side. That one side is sort of edged there, but I can see it. But you're not going to go through all that just to grab a story on the street. I mean, I wouldn't even advise it. You know what I mean? Waste any.
Well, it was just really dangerous to set all that up where we were parked.
Yeah. And that's too much work. You got to get the story.
Yeah, this was a longer piece, so we had time.
Okay.
But, for remember about safety, that's what I was concerned with.
Exactly. Good call. Good call. All right, let's keep taking a look here.
Boyfriends would soon become their pimps.
So these were motorcycles. Okay, this, how I lit this one, was I kind of just had a reflector.
Okay.
To this side, one of the sides. I forget which one. Probably this side.
It looks like this side.
This side,
Oh, no, this side.
Yeah,
What?
we're looking at it the other way.
Right.
So
this side.
Yeah. So
okay.
And it really popped. Everyone loved it.
Yeah, it looks great.
And then I shot into the sun for the next shot, just because that's it was about snow. The story was about snow in Bakersfield.
Okay.
And so I'm like, oh, let's get a shot of like the building where we interviewed people.
Yeah, we can roll.
Get this.
We can roll in a little bit there. There we go.
That.
Yeah.
This next shot was awesome. Let's pause it here. This was in a dispatch center, and if you know me, like I love our dispatchers and I love radio traffic and I love our scanners. So to go here was like
this was
epic.
your heaven.
This is
your heaven.
And then on top of that, they were playing my station on their TVs in there. And I saw a story that I shot earlier that day.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was so cool. Yeah.
Full circle.
Full circle, right? So for that one, I think there was another photographer there from another station, and I just used his light and framed her that way.
Oh, that's
you can see
great.
the screens
so
that
you
way.
guys at other stations below the line, let's just say, you guys are all good. You can trade off, help each other out.
Yeah, we kind of tag team. I mean, because if I had my light, she would be blown out.
Yeah.
Completely.
Right.
And so that wouldn't be cool either.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we kind of coordinate. And even here in LA, they coordinate.
I know some news guys down here. Yeah. They definitely work together. There's no doubt. And you got to. That's co-opetition. That's what I believe in.
Yep.
Anyway, let's take a look and see what else we got.
I want to get to the Dateline shot.
Okay, we'll just go to that next.
Okay.
This is the
right here.
Okay.
So this is what my station calls a Dateline shot. The reporter, Olivia, she actually wants to work for Dateline doing crime stuff.
Sure.
And so how I lit this, we might look at some of the pictures later, but it was your standard 3-point lighting. And so I had 2 lights on either side of her. And then I had a C-stand with a light jerry-rigged to give her that hair light that you see up there.
Very
and then
nice.
to light the background, I angled my car lights and pointed it that way.
So the car lights are hitting the background. I love that.
At an angle.
I love that.
Because that's all I had. I didn't have a 4th light to do that, right? And I think the thing with this one was it really popped. Everyone at the station was kind of talking about that shot.
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing is like the background is lit with, there you go. Thank you.
There's the picture.
There's a picture.
There it is.
So the headlights are orange, and then I lit her with daylight just to give her that little bit of contrast.
Sure.
You know?
No, it looks great. It looks great. That is very nice. Nicely done. I love using the car lights.
Yeah. So I think.
And that's is that your studio or is that in the truck?
That was actually out in the field.
Out in the field, yeah.
There, that was the same shot. That's
kind
of the point of view from the camera.
Yes. Got you.
And let's see, I think we're going through the pictures now, or the reel, whichever is fine. Yeah, we can keep going.
Yeah, so the next ones, these are just cutaway shots
Yeah,
you've
this
done?
this shot right here was taken, do you remember the RV chase that started in Southern California and ended in Bakersfield?
Gosh, I did.
That was part of this.
Did I miss that one? Doggone it.
And like moments before, they were chasing the guy, and I saved the frame. They passed right by us on the freeway.
Oh, did they really? While you got the reporter in the frame?
While we were there, yeah.
Unbelievable. Yep. Unbelievable.
Right. And I couldn't light her as good as I wanted to because it was too much. It was too things were happening too quick.
Yes. Yes.
So there's that. And is there anything else that you saw in my reel that you want to?
Yeah, just keep going through it. Let's talk for a minute. We'll just keep looking at this. Tell me something though. Here's one thing that I've thought about a lot. You know, sometimes first of all, I'm a news junkie.
Okay.
You know, that's totally, you know, when I go home, people go, do you think about the lighting? I really don't watch much with lighting. I watch the news. How do you separate yourself emotionally for some very tragic stories? I mean, something with kids involved, that would eat me alive. You know, how do you deal with that?
I think for me, I was asked this question at a community college, and I think for me, what I do is I kind of just try to really just focus on what I need to do.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, making sure I got my shots, and then making sure I have the interview. You know, now, yeah, when you have to interview somebody and it's kind of real emotionally charged, you kind of have to go in that with a little bit of like tact and some type of sensitivity.
Yeah, and a little bit of armor.
Yeah.
On.
And you know, you just kind of it's like you almost try to let them drive the interview.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of the times when you're interviewing somebody, you know, someone's loved one, about the person who died, you kind of just, you know, kind of go into it like, hey, you know, we want to know about the person.
Yeah.
Tell me what you...
Tell me about him.
About him.
Yeah. And
I think,
let that be a little maybe cathartic for that person to be telling who they really were.
Who they really were. Sometimes you're kind of playing a therapist almost at times.
I would be very much not surprised by that. What about the gruesome scenes, a car wreck, something like that?
Sure.
How do you emotionally deal with that?
I think for me, what I do is sometimes I'm there, you know, before they actually will cover up the body.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'll just like look at it really quickly, and then I just won't shoot that. In Bakersfield, we tend not to, you know, show the yellow tarp or a body covered
So you even stay away from the yellow tarp.
Yeah. So we shoot around that usually.
Yeah.
In different cities, it's different. You know.
Different variables.
Yeah.
I know, and different countries have different variables.
I guess
too.
different standards in terms of what you should show on TV.
Yeah.
And what.
You would never actually show a deceased body. Right. Right. And you even try to stay away from the your news organization does. Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Do you think that is more of an effect of being in a smaller community than a larger community?
I think so, because I know, you know, out here in LA we see that stuff all the time.
Yeah, you do see the yellow tarp.
And so I think, you know, smaller cities, they don't necessarily want to see that.
Right.
I think.
Right. No, I think so too. Let's go through a little more, Sean. Let's just take a peek. And I know we're getting on. We're pretty close now. I think we got 5 away. Yeah. So let's just let it run through. So how long have you been with the station now, Rudy?
It's about 1 year and 7 months.
That is so amazing, dude. It doesn't even seem like that long, because I remember when you got the job and it just seemed like it was like 6 months ago or something.
No, it does. I feel like it's gone by really quick.
Yeah, yeah.
And
now, how is the acceptance now, say, with the family, other relatives? I mean, are they still comparing you job-wise or anything like
Right
that?
now and then, I'll hear stuff like that. But I think, you know, we don't fight as much anymore.
The
resentment.
Acceptance. Acceptance has come in.
The acceptance, I guess, is there. The resentment is not so much there anymore.
Yeah.
You know, at least from my part, because I know a lot of people who have done what their parents wanted, and you know, they resent their parents for it.
Yes.
And I don't think, I think for me that's kind of gone away a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Yeah. I totally get that. Generally when I grew up, you know what I mean, things were, it was much more, well, do your thing. It's kind of like what you said, oh, go to college, but, do whatever you want. I'm of two minds of that, too. I used to think when I was younger, yeah, that was the way to go. Right. However, I do think some people need more direction than others. And sometimes that should be given where it isn't given, Right. But I think it's so important for, at the core of your humanness, to do what you're truly interested in. Right. If you're trying to, and also I think it's different cultures have different, value systems as far as what they look at as a job. I know I had a good friend who's Afghan. Mm-hmm. Parents were, raised in Afghan. They moved the family over when they were generally young. He goes, my sister is like a doctor, mm-hmm. And he was a regional manager for AT&T. And I go, well, so they think her job is better, right? And he goes, no, it's more like I don't even have a job if I'm not a professional, Yeah. And I think that's a big pressure that a lot of people don't understand in some cultures. Mm-hmm. That is a huge, huge deal. But ultimately, I think you have to do what you've just done, Rudy, and told us about, which is find yourself, find your own place, find your own happiness. Because you can't exist, and look at it right now. A year and a half is flowing by, where it would have seemed like 3 years if you were doing your old thing and you weren't particularly in love with it. No, great story, brother. Great story. So, really appreciate it.
Thank you
for
having me here. This is
thank
awesome.
you for coming by.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, let me see how much. We're a couple more minutes. So, is there any information you'd like to give out about your station, yourself, contacting you, or anything like that?
Let's see.
I know you like to help people too, so.
Yeah, I think probably the best way to get a hold of me would be like Instagram.
Instagram, okay. What's your handle on Instagram?
So it's Rudy J. Garcia 13.
Rudy J. Garcia 13 on Instagram. And anybody who's interested could ask you some questions or something?
Absolutely.
I know you're open to helping people.
I am. I think the major thing that I want people to know about getting into this industry is you don't necessarily need to spend a lot of money to go to film school. Mm-hmm. I would start at the community college level, and the community colleges here in Orange County are great for that.
They're fantastic.
Especially Orange Coast College and Santa Ana College. They're both great schools. Mm-hmm. And then get on set as much as you can.
Yeah.
And then in terms of news, for news, if you want to work in news, really do everything that you can. So write, shoot, direct, edit, cut,
go out and do your own story.
Do your own story.
Just like you did. Yeah. Get the scanner out there. Sit there by the bed and listen for it and be ready to get up in the middle of the night and go nail it.
Yeah, and for people who are like, well, I can't afford a scanner, I don't have a scanner, there's actually apps on your phone where you can do that.
You know what, Rudy? Here's my rule of thumb. Anybody who uses the word I can't has already failed.
Yeah.
Already failed.
Can we talk about that? Because this is something that
if you can do it in 30 seconds, we can. But give it to me.
So anyone that talks about like gear, or they can't do something because they don't have a certain piece of equipment, I will automatically stop talking to them.
Yeah, I know. Because to me, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
That's a red flag. If you're giving them advice, if you're telling them to do something, you find the way to do it.
Right.
If you can't do that, you're not going to be successful in this industry.
Right.
Is it?
Yeah.
Rudy, thank you so much, brother.
You.
Really appreciate it. And we will see you next week on Burnie's Applebox. Cut. That's a wrap.